Roberto De Zerbi has rapidly elevated Olympique Marseille, with the team showing significant improvements over a short period of time. Under his leadership, Marseille are playing some exhilarating football, marked by fluid attacking movements and sharp tactical execution. This transformation has quickly made them strong contenders for the Champions League places this season. Here's how you can recreate De Zerbi's tactics in FC24. Now, we have seen that Roberto De Zerbi does prefer to use a 4-2-3-1 system, and that is down to the fact that it is very adaptable to how he wants to play. Of course, we know that De Zerbi prefers his defenders to maintain the ball in their own half, invite the press and the pressure, and due to the fact that you will have a double pivot, those are extra passing options in those deeper zones to allow you to successfully go ahead and play through that press from the opposition. But not only does he like the system, through the first two games against the likes of Stade Brestois as well as Reims, we have seen them also adapt a 3-2-4-1 system or a 3-2-5 system where they've been a bit more aggressive, having a 3-back, allowing them to successfully build their attacks off of it and then build into the midfield zones and then out wide to the wingers and, of course, the roaming attacking fullback. De Zerbi is a manager that is set in his ways, the way that he wants his side to set up, the way that he wants his side to play from the back, the way that he always looks to build his attacks. And the same can be said for the approach that we have taken for the Olympique Marseille tactics. Now, the tactical vision will be set to wing play. Through the first two games of the season, we have seen them work the ball into those wider regions quite a lot, having likes of Mason Greenwood carry the ball down the right-hand side a fair amount. Whereas down the left-hand side, it's been a combination between the left back and the left winger, depending on who's hugging the touchline and who's overlapping and who's inverting into the central areas. So you will see a lot of stretch occur, and that will open up a lot of space centrally for your double pivot as well as your number 10 in Amin Harit to try and generate those extra passing, movements and angles, and just trying to give them as much space as possible in order to try and manipulate and exploit the opposition's defense. And speaking of defense, the defensive style for Olympique de Marseille should be set to press after possession loss. It has become a key fundamental element to how De Zerbi wants his sides playing. The minute they turn the ball over, they implement a counter-pressing system to try and win it back, and also just trying to block off potential passing angles and routes to try and attack and exploit this team. Now, as you'll see here for the team's width, I have set this to 60, allowing you to try and stretch your defensive structure a fair amount. It will still create a nice 1v1 man-v-man type system, but you will see that there will be a lot of players intercepting passes, getting into passing angles and lanes, and trying to disturb, essentially, the build-up play from the back from the opposition. The depth of the side should be set to 80, incorporating a nice high line. De Zerbi does appreciate his sides when they are pressing high up the field, and that does aid with the counter-pressing system, but also with the possession-based brand of football that De Zerbi wants his side to essentially play. Having the centre-backs as well as the fullbacks be very involved in the attacking play, looking for them to be rotational players in the attacking outlet, looking to try and establish that offensive platform, and it does really come from the centre-back stepping higher up the field and being very involved in the attacking play. The offensive system for Roberto De Zerbi's Marseille will be very similar to what we saw with Brighton, a slow build-up approach with possession being the main aim of the game. They'll always look to build up from the back, having the centre-backs be very involved in that play, looking to establish that offensive platform for the defensive midfielders and the attacking midfielders and the wingers and the attackers, just to build up off of and essentially generate that good offensive, rotational, fluid attacking system. With the chance creation being set to possession, you'll always find that the ball carrier will have multiple passing options in and around him, always looking to rotate the play, fluidly rotate into space, and make sure that they are trying to pull the opposition out of their natural defensive structure. The width of the side being set to 70 does provide a good subtle balance between attacking the wider zones and still maintaining a lot of the attack in the central areas, having the likes of Højbjerg as well as Kondogbia and even the likes of the number 10 and Amin Harit very involved in the central attacking play. But let's not forget, it is going to be set to wing play, and you do need to try and attack as much as possible down those wider zones. So therefore, with the setting set to 70, it does allow you to successfully incorporate this nice balanced attacking outlets. And with a lot of the attacks stemming from those wider regions, you will see a lot of cross and cutback opportunities present themselves, and therefore De Zerbi does want a side overloading the box with sheer numbers to try and capitalize on those potential crosses and cutback opportunities. Therefore, I have set this to 8, allowing for at least 4 players, sometimes 5, to be in and around those attacking zones. Finally, the corners as well as the free kicks, as per always, should be set to 4. As you take a look at the individual player roles and instructions, we'll start off at the front with Eli Wahi, and he'll be set to maintaining a balanced role for the support runs, the attacking runs, as well as the interceptions. You don't really need to change too much about him. He does tend to drift all over the place, but also maintain those central areas, which is why a balanced width allows you to successfully recreate his natural positioning in game. The attacking runs, I did think that it was more of a false 9 system, as we did see Wahi drift into those central zones at times, combining with Harit formulating a double 10 structure in brief moments, but we also saw him being able to hold up the play, backing into the opposition. He's not the strongest of players, but he can effectively hold up the play and link it up very nicely in those more attacking advanced zones. And of course, he does have a lot of pace, so every now and then you will see him trying to make those more direct attacking runs in behind, trying to exploit and maybe even stretch the play for this side. But the only change that we have made is the defensive support set to stay forward. He will be an out there ball for the counter, trying to capitalize on those transitions. Just in behind him is the number 10 in Amin Harit, and he'll be set to maintaining a basic defensive support. Yes, at times he does tend to drop deep, help support the defense and help support in those midfield zones, but other times he can also be an out there ball or even a linking chain to try and create those swift transition moments. The support on crosses will be set to balance as he does look to try and create on the edge of the area most times, but he can also get into the box and help facilitate any offensive movements. Now, a key element to really unlocking what Harit has been able to do through the first 2 games of the season is down to the fact that Roberto De Zerbi has given him the free reins to really drift and roam all over the place, whether it's to the left-hand side, the right-hand side, combining efficiently and effectively in those wider zones, just looking to link up the play and be the creative catalyst in the side. And therefore the positioning freedom should be set to free roam. Finally, the interception should be set to aggressive, as he does tend to trigger the counter press. He does tend to initiate that pressing structure and sequence, and essentially once he leads the press, you'll see the other players go ahead and follow him. So therefore I have set him to aggressive interceptions. Onto the left midfield position, and the likes of Luis Enrique will be set to come back on defense, as he does tend to drop very efficiently into those defensive zones, helping support the fullback or even just down the left hand side. Now, we have seen him drift out wide, looking to play as more of a touchline winger, but also he is very good at being able to drift inside and combine effectively with Amin Harit in those central zones, looking to attack the half spaces and those central zones just as much. Finally, the support runs will be set to come short, and this will also allow him to drift interiorly and look to combine very efficiently and effectively, and trying to create a lot of the offensive approach, almost playing as a secondary playmaker for the side. The interceptions will be set to normal, and then finally the support on crosses should be set to balance. We have seen Luis Enrique break into the box and score goals from cutbacks or just creative attacking opportunities, but we have seen him on the edge of the box looking to help facilitate the offense and create chances. Onto the opposite flank, and Mason Greenwood has been a large catalyst to the success so far in the early stages of the Liga and season for this side, leading the attack, leading the line in brief moments, looking to attack from that wider right space. Now, his defensive support will be set to basic, very much linking up with Wahi as well as Harit, looking to stay higher up the field and create those swift transition moments. The chance creation, however, will be set to maintaining a balance with, as the likes of Mason Greenwood does tend to play as a touchline winger, but he does tend to also in brief moments attack the half spaces, but you will see it will be mainly out wide, looking to attack those wider zones. The support runs will be set to get in behind, as he does look to try and penetrate the opposition's backline regions, making those aggressive, assertive runs and being a bit more of a direct attacking flair player. The interception should be set to normal, and then finally you want him positioning himself in the box at all times, looking to get on the end of those crosses or cutback opportunities. A double pivot consisting of Højbjerg as well as Kondogbia, and I know for the first game it was Merlin playing as that right-sided defensive midfielder. Now, for both of these players, their first 3 sets of instructions will be set to cut past lanes, stay back while attacking, as well as normal interceptions. As you'll see for Kondogbia, that will be the case, as you do want them trying to intercept the play, break it up just in front of that backline, trying to provide a solid shield element for your defensive line. Now, essentially, we've also seen that either one or the other can venture further forward, and you will see with the natural ball progression and building out from the back and building your attacks, you will see that every now and then one or the other will look to venture forward and add to the attacking line. But for the time being, having him stay back while attacking will definitely provide a solid shield for your backline defense. As you'll see for Kondogbia, he will be set to maintaining a stick-to-position approach for the positioning freedom, as well as on the defensive end, he'll be set to cover the wing. Whereas the likes of Højbjerg will be set to a slight different positioning freedom, and that will be the deep-lying playmaker, as we do see, and we have seen, Højbjerg situates himself between the 2 centre-backs, collect the ball from those deeper pockets of space and progress it further forward. And it is important to have at least one of your players playing in this role. The 2 fullbacks will have slightly differing roles, with the likes of Merlin or the left back just in general having a bit more of the attacking freedom down the left-hand side, and he'll be set to join the attack as well as overlap. You want him consistently bombing forward, having likes of Luis Enrique tuck into the midfield zones and helping formulate almost a very aggressive and assertive attacking system that we will talk about soon enough. But when he does get forward, you want him bombing down that left-hand space, whereas the right back will have a slightly more reserved role, balancing out his attacking duties with his defensive chores, but also he does have the opportunities to get forward, helping support the likes of Mason Greenwood if the opportunities are there. So a balanced attacking role for him, as well as a mixed run type. This will help him either invert into the midfield zones or underlap the right midfielder, or potentially also overlap the right midfielder and provide a lot of space and width down the right hand side. The two centre backs in Brazier as well as Bilardi will be very composed under pressure from the opposition, who will be looking to aggressively assert themselves and press, and that is something that De Zerbi does look to invite. So you need to have a lot of composure when giving the ball to your centre backs, building your attacks from the back. In that first phase, these two players will be vital to the success of essentially establishing that attacking outlet. Now they'll be able to switch the play the shorter passes into the midfield zones, or even be able to collect the ball and just drive higher up the field, creating aggressive, assertive overloads. The role of the goalkeeper will be set to maintaining a balanced set of instructions for saving on crosses, as he can be a bit more aggressive and assertive in brief moments, or other times he can look to stay on his line and have the two centre-backs or the defensive midfielders try and deal and aid with those aerial threats. The most important thing for a Roberto De Zerbi system, and the fact that you will be playing a nice high line, is you need to have the sweeper keeper role implemented for your goalkeeper. This will have him swooping up and behind your backline areas, and also looking just to cover in case there's any potential through balls or counter-attacking opportunities, or just transition moments for your defensive line. And of course, really does need to be very calm and composed when playing out from the back. Establishing that first phase build-up will be on him as well as the two centre-backs. Now, we have seen De Zerbi's side implement a 3-2-4-1 system when they are looking to really establish their offensive outlets and trying to dominate the opposition, and that is more or less where the left fullback will bomb higher up the field and almost act as a left winger, having the left winger tuck into the midfield zones and act as a secondary number 10, and then of course the right back will tuck in and formulate a solid back three system. The tactical approach for this more aggressive, assertive offensive system, nothing will really change. You won't need to change too much, as De Zerbi is set in his ways and the way that he wants his team to play, so you don't need to change too much with it. However, in terms of the individual player instructions, there will be several changes made to the individual player roles. Now, the two wider centre-backs in Murillo as well as Brazier, they'll be set to overlap, as they do tend to drift into those wider zones and help facilitate a lot of the offensive passing angles and lanes from those wider zones, looking to try and help create that wider attacking threat down the left and the right flank. So they'll be set to overlap, and as you'll see for Murillo, he will also be set to overlap. Another change that we will also see is the likes of Luis Henrique deployed as a left attacking midfielder. He'll be set to come back on defense, very similar role to what he had when he was deployed as the natural left winger, but you will also see him drifting out wide a fair amount, looking to combine very effectively with the likes of the left back in that wider left channel. And then finally, the interceptions will be set to normal. Speaking of the left back in Merlin, he'll be set to come back on defense, of course, playing as a left winger, looking to be a bit more of an attacking threat down that left space, but he will still have a lot of defensive duties down the left-hand side. The stay wide approach will be essential, as well as the get in behind. He will be looking to consistently make those runs in behind, having those longer potential through balls played into him, where he can look to fire it back into the box for one of the attackers in and around that zone. And then finally, the last instruction that you do need to change for him, he will be set to maintaining the stay on edge of the box approach for the crosses, as he'll be looking to either rotate the play or facilitate another cross into the box. But otherwise, the rest of the players will be set to maintaining their same roles and instructions as they had before with the 4-2-3-1 system. And there you go, my dudes. That is how I would go ahead and recreate Roberto De Zerbi's Olympique de Marseille tactics into FC24. I do hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you don't mind, please smash that like button down below, as well as if you are new to the channel, could you maybe consider hitting that big red subscription button, please? That would mean the absolute most. We are on the road to 10,000 subs, so if you could be a part of that journey, that would mean the absolute most to yours truly. I also have a Discord server, the Brom Squad Gaming Discord server, so if you have a Discord account, feel free to click the link down below and join up with the chat. We are chatting everything football at the moment. Of course, it's transfer deadline day as we speak, and we are chatting everything FC25 and how excited we are for some of the new features and all that good stuff. So if you are interested in something like that, feel free. The link will be down below in the description. Anyways, until the next time, I hope you have a smashing goddamn day, and I'm out of here. Peace.